Grab your popcorn, everyone. Turn down the lights because this is Quantum Mysteries. You are not just watching another podcast about UFOs and interdimensional beings and high strangeness. You are stepping into a much wider and deeper reality with us. I am psychic medium, trance channeler, and shaman Riz Mirza. I've spent the last 2 decades, probably the last 2 lifetimes, deeply interested in the other side. As a psychic medium, I have spent a lot of time on the other side, bringing messages channeled from spirit guides to interdimensional beings, like in my book, The Echelon, which are messages for humanity from this higher place of consciousness. And with that background, I've made some very interesting friends along the way. One of them who stands out is with me tonight, my co-host, my co-pilot in high strangeness, a good friend and soul brother from parts unknown, I think, Mr. Desert Dennis Stroll, who is a mining entrepreneur, an explorer of the deserts of America, and an ET experiencer. And I like to say a chaser of all things weird and wonderful, just like me. Dennis, welcome back to Quantum Mysteries. Glad to have you with me.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today. And this is our episode 12, amazingly. And but this is the first time that Riz and I have had an opportunity.
Well, you know, Oriah gave me the controls of the UFO that we're on, and said,
yes,
"Let me connect consciously to these sentient beings called UFO ships." You know, I believe that. I believe that the ships they're sentient. They feel the pilots. You know, have you heard that from people who have been whistleblowers over the years?
Most definitely. Yeah. And it just makes sense. You know that they're interdimensional when they pop in and out, which often they do. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even in the reports from the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force, I'm always fascinated by those reports because people like to say, well, I'll believe it when the government admits it. And then I like to say, well, gee, those 2 videos came out back in 2017. Mm-hmm. The Air Force and the Navy, a part of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, well, what I often ask people, what type of proof would be acceptable to you? Right?
What's the old saying? For those who believe, no proof is necessary, and for those who do not believe, no proof will be sufficient.
Yes.
That's quite an interesting thing to say about the times that we're living in, right?
Well, we've both been to the Contact in the Desert annual UFO conference.
Yes.
Which used to be 4 days, now it's 5 days. Yes. What I found there that was always fascinating is everybody that you'd meet, which were from around the world, and they would all say basically the same thing. Because I always like to ask somebody like, gee, that sounds like an Aussie accent. You're from Australia? Yes.
Well, have you heard an Alaskan accent? Because, guys, we are going to dive into Alaska today.
Yes.
Okay, look.
Yes.
Imagine a land that is larger than Texas. It is carved by glaciers. It is beautiful. It is brutal. It is a safe haven, and it is dangerous. It has staggering beauty, I think, But also, there is something that is called the Alaskan Triangle. And this is between Anchorage, Juneau, and I wrote it down because I can't even say the name, but it's Utqiagvik. Who knows what accent I'm using when I say that? But that is the Alaska Triangle. So this frozen zone has been a place of high strangeness for really centuries. Native Americans have spoken of it. There have been Bigfoot sightings, Sasquatch. More than 16,000 people, guys, have disappeared since 1988. So you have hunters, you have hikers, you have citizens. People see eerie lights moving in and out of waters, okay? Really ships and anomalous objects that are bending the laws of physics that we know. So this is not just in the skies, it's deep in the forest where people have had the Bigfoot sightings, which, by the way, many times have coincided with UFO sightings as well. How interesting is that? Makes you go, what is the connection? So we're going to talk about that. Are these magnetic anomalies? Are these portals? Is it something older than human history? What is happening in the Alaska Triangle? So we're going to go over 4 cases tonight, guys, there are many compelling stories, but Dennis and I have compiled what we feel are the most compelling. Okay, so we're going to dive into a very, very famous case, and let's jump into
One thing,
that.
may I interject here real quick
Sure.
before we begin, and that is that for everybody's awareness, the Alaska Triangle is different than the Bermuda Triangle in that it is partly inland and partly in the ocean. So you have both ships at sea as well as airplanes that have disappeared and people disappearing inland and out in the ocean.
Great point. And it makes it even more staggeringly mysterious and frightening.
Yes.
So let's go back to 1986, guys. 1986, November 17th to be exact. And I wrote his name down. This is Captain Kenji Terauchi, who was flying a Japanese Airlines 747 cargo plane. Routine. They begin to see lights, okay, that are in the distance. Two glowing orbs. And then a colossal craft that is larger than an aircraft carrier. So just take a moment, guys, and you've heard this before about these ships being this big. Imagine an aircraft carrier in comparison to a 747. And this thing paced along with his jet and buzzed him for nearly 40 minutes, sent him into a panic. And the air traffic control in Anchorage even picked it up on their radar. Radar hits are very important in UAP sightings. So they tried to lose it. It moved with them. One object on the left, one object on the right. And then they came across a walnut-shaped, by the way, this was walnut-shaped is the way he described it. So the FAA, when they land, interviews the pilots, the crew, pulls the radar tapes, holds a press conference, and what do they say? There's not enough data. What does the captain say? It was a spaceship.
Exactly.
So, question for you, Dennis. You know the guy, and you're great with names. There was a guy who was part of the FAA. He has the tapes. He was in the Disclosure Project. He had the tapes of the FAA. I think it was Callahan.
That does ring a bell.
Yeah,
I don't
have it in our
remember
notes
for sure, but I think you're right.
He was a FAA division chief. Right. Let me look it up here. Okay, so John Callahan, FAA division chief at the time, later admittedly he personally showed radar data and pilots' reports to the CIA. So if nothing happened, as they were saying, why did it go straight to the top of the CIA? Why?
Yep.
So, it's interesting. I've been to Japan. And I was about to say he's Japanese, so he's telling the truth.
Yes.
Let's say, there's one, the Japanese never lie. Of course, I know people are people, guys. But what I'm saying is that this is a man who has his professional reputation at stake. And yes, it is true in Japanese culture. Honor is a very big deal. It is part of really their day-to-day practice of the way they are. And he's never going to say something, especially in a professional capacity, to risk his career. Pilots in America, they get threatened. You say you saw a UFO, and they'll put you on desk duty, Dennis.
Yep. And isn't that unfortunate? I mean, every major airline here in the U.S. that's been around for a long time, you know that they have multiple pilots that have had multiple sightings over a period of time, and how the guys in charge can just be constantly in denial that, gee, all of our pilots must have been hallucinating, or it was, a reflection in their windshield or whatever. They always come up with some bogus excuse, but then ground-based radar verifies it, and maybe another plane coming from the other direction. Yeah, we saw the same thing, same coordinates. So, that all rolls around, I think, to the subject of why would a government suppress that kind of information, and the private sector. And that's a whole other subject we'll have to, we need to keep moving on. We don't even want to go there, but I have some very, very strong thoughts about that as to why that occurs.
I think that we're gonna go into, we have to talk about disclosure probably in every episode of Quantum Mysteries, because it seems we're on the verge of something that certainly is much, much better than what it was 10 years ago. And
Yes.
certainly 20 or 30 years ago, where you mentioned UFOs in a conversation and people would just laugh.
Yes.
Now they're saying, "Oh, I think I see it, or I believe it." So there's a shift in consciousness that's happening, where the
Yes.
average person is starting to say, "Of course, we're not alone." Right.
Right.
This case in Alaska, which I find so powerful, is it's ominous, isn't it? You know, picturing a cargo plane traveling at night above the clouds.
Yes, it is.
And the fear that must go into this trained pilot to see something the size of an aircraft carrier lit by the moon. He said the moon was bright as well. You know, they tried to say it was Venus. Boy, Venus must have flashing lights and can dart from left to right. I mean, they
Yeah,
trust,
exactly.
right. They trust pilots with weapons and nuclear capabilities
Yes.
and our lives. But when it comes to UFOs, suddenly the guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
You know, the aircraft carrier size reminds me too, and I don't remember which one it was, but in one of the Avengers films or Captain America films, you know, they had that. Basically, it was like a flying aircraft carrier.
Well,
And,
that's
you know,
another part of disclosure, isn't it? Because
Yes.
they put it in the films.
Yep.
A lot of people say that Close Encounters and ET were based on actual events that began in Roswell, that ET was actually named after EBE, who was the
Yes.
alien that was alive at Roswell. What do you know about that?
Yep. Oh gosh, I remember quite a few years back, you and Araya and we shared an audio transcript, if you remember, of that entire interview,
Yeah. Alien
and it was
interview.
really fascinating.
Yeah, you guys, you should Google alien interview Roswell. The background of that is Matilda McElroy. I believe her last name was McElroy.
Yes.
She was the nurse stationed at Roswell Air Force Base. Roswell Army Base, excuse me.
Right.
But it was an Air Force Base, wasn't it? Must have been. I know it's an Army base. So she
Okay.
was the nurse that when the body of the alien who had survived was on the table and she was in the room, it looked at her and she had a moment where it began to psychically, telepathically communicate with her and no one else.
Yep. That was the most fascinating part, I think. And it was frustrating the generals and the colonels and all the other high-ranking guys. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, wow, we can't communicate. We have to communicate through you. Well, that's what the EBE is saying.
Right. Extraterrestrial biological entity. So they basically, that story, you should look into it, guys. But Steven Spielberg was given access to this, as well as the stories that are in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Side
Yes.
note, Dennis, what do you know about SERPO?
About who?
SERPO.
SERPO.
Yeah. Do you know about SERPO?
No, I don't.
I
Please share.
found something, guys, that Dennis doesn't know.
Yes.
It's a momentous day. But okay, you do know about there was an alien exchange program with our
Yes.
astronauts.
Yes.
So they call that Project SERPO, guys, which we will go into in another date. But they actually referenced Project SERPO. Basically what happened is that after the crash at Roswell, the alien was building its phone home communicator
Right.
and did do it and was able to call his comrades from where he was from, another star system, and the way they were pronouncing the planet it sounded like they were saying SERPO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they basically arranged an exchange program that at a certain time they would arrive, they would leave the alien with us, whom they called Errol.
Yes.
And
I remember that name.
yeah, and so our guys would go to Planet SERPO. And they did. And there's a lot of really, really incredible writing about that from people who have blown that whistle. Anyway, long story short, guys, it's in the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You see a crew of about 10 people dressed, they're humans, and on the left side of the screen, you see them in line boarding the craft.
Yep.
That, which was revealed by a gentleman by the name of Philip Corso, who wrote a great book called The Day After Roswell. Look that book up, guys. Was a New York Times bestseller. He was a high-ranking military official at the foreign, what is the word? The foreign something desk. The foreign, not foreign relations. It's where it was kind of the covert operation for where they were.
Agency, right.
Yeah, agency, where it was like, okay, if a Russian missile falls and we go and investigate it, but they also included if a UFO crashes, and so he was part of that. Anyway, it's in that book, and he spilled all the beans. He named names, he gave dates and places of everything that happened.
Yes.
And it's there. So, Hollywood tends to, I think that the government and Hollywood, when they want to bring this truth across, desensitize people over time, I think they're doing it through films. So people know what spaceships look like.
Yeah, well, I'm noticing that more and more, especially in the UFO community, we'll call it, different podcasts and different people that we know about, that more and more they are saying that maybe we should be viewing a lot of these so-called science fiction films as documentaries. I mean, take the Matrix, for example, the fact that there's no place where there aren't any quantum particles. There's no gap. I mean, we're sitting about 180 miles apart here, roughly, right now.
Yep. I'm in LA.
It's not like, there's that 120-mile space where there's no quantum particles. No, they're everywhere. We're in an ocean of quantum particles. And so are we'll call them ultra-dimensional craft.
Yeah.
That's why they're able to pop in and pop out. They raise their frequency up to a point where, just like audibly,
like a dog whistle,
get up to certain frequencies,
right?
And we can't hear it.
So if you blow the dog whistle, you can't hear it, guys, but your dog can. So does that mean that it doesn't exist because you can't hear it? And there are so many things in the visual spectrum that we cannot see. I mean, this camera catches things that my eye can't catch because its frame rate is higher than my eyes, right? So objects even show up on film where people were just filming the beach, and then later on, the guy's editing it on his iPad to show his family, and he goes, "What's that white dot that's just streaked across the screen?" He slows it down to 1/100th of a speed, and you see a disc.
Yep.
I mean, this is incredible, guys. So for me, as a channeler, where people say, are spirit guides real? I say, look, every culture in history, including religions, have told us. So every indigenous culture, along with every quote-unquote major religion, has referred to the fact that there are beings who walk alongside of us and we live in the world of spirits. What does that mean? It means that we exist in dimensional frequencies. I just believe that, just like the dog whistle, these beings live on a higher frequency that our technology can't even pick it up, Dennis. So you send a camera to Venus and you say, okay, well, we checked, there's no life there. Right, but that's with this prehistoric camera that's not going to pick up the finest frequencies of activity. What do you think about, like, where is, I know we're going to dive into all these different areas, guys, but when you've been an experiencer yourself.
Yes.
And you have felt the connection as a frequency, correct?
Yes.
So
yes, and
tell me about that.
But what I was going to say was, speaking of frequencies and cameras, I noticed the shift from when we shifted from 35 millimeter cameras to digital cameras. That digital cameras pick up a lot of things, including orbs, as they're called, which are round globes of light that will show up in your photograph, and they're perfectly what we would call sacred geometry patterns.
Yes.
They're perfectly patterned, a lot like a beautiful snowflake. They're not randomly, arbitrarily shaped. They're perfect circles. And you can see geometric pattern in there. Well, you can't see them with your naked eye. I have numerous photos, Riz and everybody out there, that I've taken inside of gold mine tunnels, old abandoned gold mines. And I can't see them with the naked eye, but once I take the photograph, there might be 5 or 6 orbs of all different sizes, little ones, bigger ones, in that tunnel with me. And I know that those are my guardian spirit guides because they're going, what are you doing going in there all by yourself?
Yes.
But I do anyway, because I know that my guides are with me and they're in there protecting me. And I have photographic evidence of that taken with digital cameras.
And not only photographic evidence, we have video evidence, guys, because for a long time people were saying these anomalies that you're seeing in these photographs are particles of dust or moisture in the air, or it's a bug. Well, guys, go to my YouTube channel videos list here, and you will see orbs in the temple in Egypt. Just type in with my name, Riz Mirza, and you will see on video in a temple where there is no wind blowing, my friends, not the slightest. You will see hundreds of thousands of orbs, different shape, different sizes, they're all round, coming out of the walls, going through walls, coming out of the ceiling, coming up from the floor, circling around people, changing direction, and they're countless orbs. So these are spiritual, energetic orbs, I call them. They're not extraterrestrials. They are, and in some cases, they are guardian spirits. Like I said, this has been spoken about in all ancient indigenous cultures.
Yes.
The 3 or 4 main religions of the world, the most popular ones, are also referring to other worldly or spiritual beings. So this is, and now people who are even experiencing plant medicine journeys are doing ayahuasca, or they're going on mushroom journeys, and they have direct, people call them hallucinations. They are not hallucinations. They are actually, finally the veil is lifted and you see what is truly there. I think that when you don't see the tree breathing or you don't see the spirit world, that's when you're hallucinating, not when you see them.
I agree. And, interesting little tidbit that I learned a while back, I think it was from David Wilcock, and he mentioned the fact that inside of our pineal gland are the same little vision cones that we have in our regular eyeballs that we see in the physical with.
Right.
So then, knowing that, it's like, okay, I love to ask people this. So tell me something. Do you ever dream? Oh, yeah. And so tell me, what eyes are you seeing with?
Beautiful. I'm seeing with my thoughts. What do you mean you see with your thoughts?
Yeah. Be more specific, please.
Yeah. Because we were told that something has to enter, the retina or go through the ear canal to hear. But you hear, you see, you even feel in your dreams.
Yes.
So you're entering into a higher frequency space. Interesting about the pineal gland. When most people meditate, guys, they focus on the point between their eyebrows and maybe an inch or two back. The pineal gland is actually in the center of your head, between the hemispheres of your brain. It also physically, scientists or doctors will tell you, that's to regulate your sleep and your circadian rhythms, along with some other things. But as a shaman, as a medium, I will tell you that the parallel, when people say, that pineal gland has to do with sleep. Okay, but as a shaman, as a medium, it is because it is dealing with how you navigate between waking or superconscious states.
There you go.
So that's what's going on there.
That makes complete sense.
So yes, your pineal gland, absolutely, guys, meditate on that. And, it's not complicated. It's just about relaxing your body and envisioning white light in the center of the 2 hemispheres of the brain and relaxing, breathing. And your natural state is to actually be open and relaxed, and you are a psychic and spiritual being. So let's talk about we're going into different places, but let's go from Alaska.
No, that's okay.
Let's go to Alaska to space.
Kodiak Naval Air Station was the next one there.
Okay, let's see. We had it on our list, didn't we? Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you talk about that one?
All righty. Well, that happened back in 1950. And in that particular instance, Navy radar and visual sightings of glowing orange lights were performing these impossible maneuvers. And it was logged in to Project Grudge and Blue Book. The Blue Book was, Project Blue Book was one of the first printed books about the UFO phenomena many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember acquiring a copy of that when I was in grammar school. Long time ago.
You're kidding.
I think I was in 5th or 6th grade. And my dad said, "Are you really interested in that?" Yeah. I said, "Yeah." And he bought it for me.
So, but what was it?
Project Blue Book.
Wait, it was the actual Blue Book?
Well, it's called, yeah, there was a book published many years ago.
Oh, okay.
I forget,
Right.
by Keogh. I think his last name was Keogh.
Uh-huh.
Ralph or Richard Keogh.
Okay.
Kehoe or something like that. But yeah, I remember getting that book when I was just a kid. I had an interest in UFOs.
I wish you have that book somewhere, Dennis. We got to find that book.
Yeah, I may have it. I have so much stuff in storage here from when I moved to Palm Desert here to Las Vegas that a lot of my books, my library, and all are in storage right now.
So this thing happened in 1950, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So 3 years after Roswell, which was 47, and you're getting Navy radar operators. Many times these guys would ask their superior officer, what do I do? And the superior officer would say, don't do anything about it. Well, let me tell you something about my father-in-law, who was a radar operator. He was Araya's stepdad, actually.
Yes.
And he's in his late 80s now. And he was a radar operator. He was out there in the Baltic Sea.
Wow.
And he did not tell me this story until after about 15 years of knowing him.
Yeah.
And I never even knew he was a radar operator. He never told us what he did in the Navy.
Wow. How interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And, I pressed him. I said, so just tell me. And, of course, he's the older guy has to say, oh, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you, kid. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, right.
I said, listen, I'll die happy. Don't worry. So he said that he was on just a regular night, and an object was approaching. He said it was going 7,000 miles an hour. He tracked it. And he said it made a hard right turn over the Baltic Sea and disappeared. And he told his superior officer, and the officer came over and says, you don't need to make a report of that. And he said, okay. Next night, 2 did exactly the same thing and went over the ship, 7,000 miles an hour. He tracked it. Hard right turn, disappears. He logs it, puts it in the book.
Wow.
I don't know, whenever they got to land a couple of weeks later, he saw 2 gentlemen, not men in black, but just wearing suits. They certainly weren't wearing naval uniforms.
Right.
And take the logs and left. So, are you the one that wrote this? He said, yes. And they said, okay, thank you. They left. And that was it.
Wow.
So think about this. This is in the 50s and 60s. So when I see this case that you're talking about in Kodiak, didn't the crew see it from the ship? And we're talking without binoculars. They could literally see it with the naked eye.
I believe so, yes,
Okay.
because there are all, especially on an aircraft carrier, well, even on a destroyer, there are always guys out on deck.
Yeah.
Looking in all directions, not just from the crow's nest, but down on the deck.
So
if
then
you're
they
on the
tell these
starboard
guys,
side,
right?
You're looking out there. If you're on the aft side, you're looking out that way. So, yeah, there are always people on deck, and in particular, if it's a bright light. I mean, I have a friend on Facebook. She goes by the handle of Starshine, and she's just constantly going back and forth between Roswell and Sedona and the extraterrestrial highway near Rachel, which is the eastern entrance to Area 51. And over the last month, she has posted on Facebook 3 broad daylight videos
Really?
of UFOs.
Really?
Yes. And they're, in every case, they're bright white, circular, sometimes kind of saucer shape, but most of the time closer to egg shape.
I think they change shape.
Oh, I agree. Yes.
Sometimes people say it's cigar shaped, and I go, but maybe you were just seeing it from the side. It actually was a disc. And then some people say they've seen actual rectangles.
Yep.
Did you see the video of the Navy ship that the crew, speaking of crew on deck, they took the videos of the pyramid-shaped UFOs?
pyramid shape. No, I didn't know about that.
Oh,
Now I know
yes.
about the tic tac, as they call it.
Yes, so there was a
It's rounded on
pyramid
both
shaped,
ends.
and there's video, by the way. Now, by the way, these videos, guys, have been confirmed by the Pentagon as actual and by the Navy as official videos. So we're not talking about there was a farmer somewhere who took it on a shaky iPhone. These are our military, our good guys on the decks doing their job,
Yes.
serving this country, taking an oath to serve and protect the country, who took these videos, okay? And
Well, on these ships too, I think they always have really high-end audio. I mean, still shot and video equipment.
guys, just Google pyramid UFOs Navy, and you'll see the video yourself.
Yep.
And the Navy has confirmed, again, I repeat, the Navy has confirmed that these are their videos. So this is the disclosure, right? And by the way, that case, Dennis, speaking of Blue Book, I
Yes.
think we looked it up and it said Blue Book put it in as final status unknown.
Yep.
All right.
Kind of like that History Channel program called The Unexplained. And I've noticed that they're doing more and more episodes that involve exclusively UFOs. It's not always, unexplained new carvings in Machu Picchu or, the pyramids or whatever. They're getting into UFOs a lot. And a lot of these different shows that aren't generally overall themed. About
Morning
UFOs.
shows, Dennis, even morning shows in major cities are talking about this.
Yep.
So now we're getting to something that's near and dear to my heart, which is and has been the long-standing relationship between psychic mediums and the CIA, specifically speaking about the program in the 1970s, which was called Project Stargate. This is where our government, CIA, hired talented psychic talent to remote view. If you guys aren't familiar with remote viewing, it is where you are able to sit in one location and, using your psychic ability, see in your mind details of another location remotely. Okay?
Yes.
And the CIA knows that this is true. They hired them. This program has probably still going on. And Pat Price, so psychic Pat Price was hired to describe these different targets or locations, usually military, right?
And two other high-profile names in ufology and all that were there as a part of that remote viewing project was Ingo Swann.
Yes, rock star.
Ingo Swann and Major Ed Dames. Major Ed Dames used to be on the Art Bell show all the time.
Oh man, I miss Art Bell, don't you?
Oh, big time.
I hope he's watching and with us.
Oh, I'm sure that he is.
I always feel a little bit like Art Bell when I say welcome to Quantum Mysteries. I go, thank you, Art Bell, because you taught us. It's like that's the vibe that we are always in when we do this show. So yes. Pat Price, one of the main remote viewers, was asked. They give you coordinates, by the way, guys. So they don't tell the remote viewer the city and state. They tell them nothing except for coordinates, longitude and latitude.
Yes.
And the remote viewer is sitting in an enclosed room, no windows, nothing, just pen and paper. Here's the coordinates. Tell us what you see. So they gave the remote viewer, Pat Price, coordinates for Mount Hayes, Alaska. And what he began to see was under the mountain. He saw metallic corridors. He saw hidden chambers. And he even saw craft, extraterrestrial craft. He described the craft. Perhaps this craft was extraterrestrial. Perhaps it's our own, American-made reverse
engineered, right.
Right, and stored underground. And these notes, guys, are in the declassified CIA files. So why are people laughing why would the CIA log, classify, revisit those transcripts if they didn't mean anything? They've yet to say, they've never said these experiments proved to be false. So it's quite amazing to me that in this day and age, people still refuse to understand that psychic phenomenon is a truth. It has been always a part of our genetic makeup. Throughout history, there have been people who are able to connect with those who have not only left this world, but people who are not even from this world. Myself channeling the interdimensional beings that I channel, who call themselves the Echelon, actually they call themselves the Friends. They are part of that intergalactic council. So let's talk a little bit about Project Stargate. Do you want to say anything about that, Dennis?
Well, interestingly enough, that's one of the television shows that that David Wilcock mentions. You really need to watch that as if it was a documentary, opposed to being science fiction. Because, when you think about what effects that we're able to create with frequencies today, okay, there's frequency healing technology.
Yes.
And that crosses back and forth between light and inaudible frequencies.
Yes.
Because when you're looking at a laser, a blue laser, a green laser, an orange laser, each one of those colors of lasers is also vibrating at a different frequency. That's what changes the color.
Yes. I believe that that's going to be one of the primary tools for healing in the future. I think they're probably using it even now. We certainly have, we have color therapy where people will accept that, I'm in an infrared sauna. It's going to heal my body. Okay. But what's next? We have blue rooms right now. Do you know about that?
Oh, yes. That's probably the best one was invented and developed by Jay-Z Knight, who, of course, channels Ramtha.
Yep. And
so her blue rooms are incredible.
Oh, really? I didn't know that she has them. So here in LA, we have there's a chain that has started, and it's going across the country. Guys, look up blue rooms. We're not talking about blue light that hurts your eyes like from the laptop. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about healing blue light frequencies that calm the nervous system, boost the immune system. So what's going to be next?
Yes,
the Saint Germain violet flame healing light machine that you're going to put in your house, right?
Well, interestingly enough, we know that different things are accepted earlier or later in various countries. And if you go, Jay-Z Knight spells hers without the E, so it's BLUROOM.com.
Okay.
Blue and you'll find if you click on locations, there are more blue rooms in other countries than here in the U.S. There aren't any in the Southwest at all, for example. She has one at the school up in Yelm, Washington.
Yeah, give me a second.
And there's another one offsite, I think, in Yelm. But
go ahead, say it again.
So they've had great acceptance in Europe, for example. There are several in Germany and several in Denmark. And so this kind of technology is becoming more and more accepted. And people, back about 5 or 6 years ago, there's every year here in Las Vegas, there's a huge health, trade show convention.
Right.
And they actually had a blue room here, and one of the local TV stations did a review on it. It was very interesting.
So it's getting into the mainstream, right? That's the mainstream is happening. You're getting reporters who do everything from, a cat fell out of a tree to what's the president doing now to, what's the latest sneaker, now talking about healing light frequencies. And for all we know, guys, this is reverse engineered technology from these crafts. And in fact, Bob Lazar would probably agree.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, this one woman that they interviewed as she was coming out, what was it like? What do you experience? And she says, all I can tell you is within the first 20 or 30 seconds, because you lay down on like a
bed.
Massage table, elevated massage table, and it's octagonal, and it has so when you're in the center, that's number 9 because octagon is 8 sides. That was all intentionally channeled to her by Ramtha. He says this is how you build it, right? But when she came out, she said within about the first 30 seconds, I felt more relaxed, as if in a meditative state, than I have ever felt in my life. And considering, I'm from corporate America, high stress and everything, man, if I could climb into that thing 2 or 3 times a week, I would love it. So people have these kind of experiences, and she's telling you, she didn't have to lay in there for an hour to feel something.
Yeah.
So she felt it in under a minute.
Well, that brings us to a very interesting observation, I think, or a thought, which is if the origins of this healing modality of red light therapy, blue light therapy, and then these other sound healing frequency therapies, if they're coming from other places, from extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings, that would make sense in the fact that, and I've channeled on this, guys, which is that they are not here to interfere from our development and our evolution. They are here to help nudge us without force, without compulsion, and without them having to make themselves kind of known to the general public and throw off the natural order of things, which is, there's an old saying, right? You want to give a man not a fish, but teach him how to fish. Give him a fishing pole and how to fish rather than just giving him a fish. And I think that the benevolent ETs, the ones who really want us to be part of this interdimensional, intergalactic federation, as some have said. By the way, these are not just psychics who have said that there's an intergalactic council. By the way, guys, go look up Paul Hellyer.
Yes,
Hellyer. He's passed away now, but he's on video, and I believe he was the defense minister of Canada.
Yes.
He went on record.
Big time.
He went on, He went on record and said there are 72 races of aliens, and we are not part of the intergalactic council or federation. There's a federation of planets and of systems, and Earth is not in it because we're too busy killing each other and not using our resources wisely. So they're not going to intervene. They're going to wait for us to have the natural order of evolution. So I think that they are slowly, kind of through telepathic communication, dropping these seeds of innovation into our brains. Not that we're not creative ourselves, but everything is co-created, in my opinion. And as a medium, I will tell you that we agree to all of these communications on a higher level. We agree to it. And then, therefore, this is collaboration happening. So there's
kind
also
of a psychic inspiration, would you say? We're being inspired very often.
That's the
internally.
Word. Thank you.
Yeah. We're inspired to invent something new that nobody else has thought about, or to experiment with something perhaps that someone is doing, but you're thinking, God, there's got to be a better way to do that. I'm going to go into my lab and try this or try that. And I mean, you look at Nikola Tesla, Edgar Cayce, Royal Raymond Rife. Royal Raymond Rife was curing cancer.
Yeah, they say that, don't they? But
right down in San Diego.
Yeah.
And he got rated. I have a friend here in Las Vegas, by the way, that was Royal Raymond Rife's for the last few years of his life, while he still had his lab in San Diego. My buddy Ron here in Vegas was his engineer and used to repair the big universal microscope that he had, and the AZ58, which was the frequency broadcaster for healing. And by the way he named that, it was interesting. The AZ58. Why? He would look through his universal microscope, which way back then was even more powerful than today's electron microscope.
Really?
Amazing. Had 500 pieces shaped like a pyramid. Anyhow, he would look at like cancer cells and all these different diseases apparently with an electron microscope. As soon as you put something on a little plate and turn the microscope on, it kills what you're looking at.
Wow.
Well, he was looking at live cancer viruses. So you had a great big dial, frequency generator sitting. So he's looking through his microscope at live cancer cells. And he would find this frequency that dissolved the cancer.
Incredible.
So he identified 58 different diseases, if you will, by examining cells like that. So he named it the AZ58 because it would heal anything from A to Z for 58 different specific things.
We need to look this up.
And he built the AZ58 to broadcast all 58 frequencies simultaneously. So he knew what the range was, and you could it would heal up to 100 people sitting in a circle around the AZ58, sitting in the middle of a room. You could fill a room with 100 people, and everybody would get the same benefit. But of course, different benefits for everybody because everybody's got something else different going on in their body. But they get up and go, "Jeepers, my knee has ached for 30 years, and I feel like I could go out and run a race with my grandkids." That kind of stuff.
So think about this, right? It's like the movie, what was that movie? Cocoon?
Yes. Okay, there you go.
Youth. But look at it this way. Here we are suppressing knowledge from our own fellow human beings.
Yes.
So, of course, they're going to suppress knowledge if it comes from extraterrestrials, right? We're over here.
Yes.
There are books called Forbidden Science. There's lots of information guys out there about how great experiments. People are going to say, yeah, the electric car, the car that ran on water, even more. even more than that. And so we suppress even our fellow human beings. But is this a doomsday situation? So as a shaman, I will tell you my perspective on this, and I want to share this because we can watch a lot of podcasts where people will go back and forth. Why won't they release the information? When are they going to stop lying to us? Don't they know that they could save the world? What about 0-point energy? And people are freaking out. You see Stephen Greer freaking out. This guy's done so much work, but he's like sweating in all his interviews now because he's so passionate about it, and he just wishes that this would happen. But
Yes.
I don't want people to be driven to the brink of madness because they feel that it is a never-ending battle and it's never going to happen in their lifetimes to the extent that they want it to, because it isn't going to happen in your lifetime where all of the disclosure is going to happen. So how do you find peace in that? What I tell people is that if you're going to go down the rabbit hole the way Mulder did in the X-Files and still not believe it at the end because you don't know if it's a hoax or if this is going to be some holographic alien, threat that they're going to use to control the masses and all of that stuff that may or may not be true.
Right.
What I teach people when it comes to shamanic healing work, which is understanding how to shift your view of things, that you are on a much bigger experience called your own evolution, that we have our own evolution here, and all of these conflicting forces are part of that evolution. They're not separate from it. So people tend to see these truths that they discover or suspected truths that they encounter, which send them into a fear state, which is things are being withheld from me and therefore it is causing me and my planet harm. They're kind of stuck there. And I say, look, everything that's at play here is part of the play. Everybody is playing their role.
Yes.
And of course, what will come from it, look, you're not going to be around for it, guys. You're not going to be around for suddenly we're shaking hands with the aliens. Maybe your great-grandkids will be, but we're not there yet. So I want you guys to, as Dennis and I dive into these topics, this is for your mind to open, but for you to ultimately have peace with so that you can flow in life and not just wait and be angry if you're not seeing the results that you wanted, right? That we're not having disclosure fast enough. Did you see that? And I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's been in the news back in July. It was about this interstellar object, Dennis.
Yes.
Yes. Right? What are they calling it?
That is known as the three-eye atlas.
Okay.
That is the three-eye atlas.
So that's the only that we had Oumuamua in 2017. Then we had another one in 2019, but this one is moving faster than anything we've ever tracked before, guys. This thing is flying at 140,000 miles an hour. How big is it? It's like people say kilometers across. I'm an American. I don't know what kilometers is.
Yeah.
I understand
that. It's not really tic-tac shaped in that it's not rounded at the ends, but some of the simulated images that I've seen.
Yes.
It's like a really, really long, it gets skinnier out towards the ends, comet. So it's just looks like rock. It just looks like, a flying comet is usually a flying piece of rock. And apparently they always have a vapor trail from the ice that's always on them because it's so cold out in space. And this has no vapor trail.
Wow.
Well,
in the cold of space, there's no vapor trail. I mean,
That's really makes it suspicious.
Okay.
That's why they're saying they think that it's underpowered.
Okay, so I looked it up here. It says it looks like. So this is Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who this guy has got balls on him. He comes out there and says what he wants to say.
Right.
Harvard astrophysicist, guys, who has suggested that this is an intelligently controlled object. We have a Harvard astrophysicist. And they said this about Oumuamua, by the way, guys.
Yes.
He said, okay, here, it looks like it's emitting light from its nucleus, not just reflecting sunlight. Loeb says maybe it's powered, maybe nuclear. And then he says, too, its path through the solar system is almost too perfect. It's lined up with the orbital plane within a few degrees. Loeb says the odds of that happening randomly are tiny. He's saying, I'm not saying it's aliens. The quote, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it was aliens. He's saying, I'm not saying it's aliens, but I'm not dismissing it. he's asking NASA, I roll everyone, to use spacecraft to take high-res photos of it. But who knows what they're going to do? Is it a comet? Is it a probe? What is it? Just a giant civilization on it? Maybe it's a city. What do you think?
Well,
Dennis?
I heard an interesting perspective by a fellow. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of what his name is now. He was interviewed by good old Michael Salla.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, has been on many, Ancient Aliens, and
Yeah.
he's got his own podcast. Anyway, this fellow is very, very telepathic, like yourself, and psychic to a degree. But he will just use the word claims.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have to do that in this context.
Yeah.
He claims to have been in telepathic communication with one of the admirals on that craft, and that there were 4 or 5 admirals, I guess, along with a crew, that were dispatched on reverse engineered spacecraft 20 years ago to go out and explore the galaxy, not just our solar system, but they went out roaming around the Milky Way, apparently, our galaxy. And now they're coming back and they gained, because of various ETs and all that they entangled with, shall we say, quantum entanglement, right? And so they're way advanced intellectually, technologically, and spiritually from what they were when they left. And what he's saying is we are here to expedite disclosure and not let your deep state, do a fake UFO, attack
false
and scare everybody
kind of
on the planet. Yeah,
right.
No flash. We will not allow any false flags.
Right.
So that was very, very encouraging perspective, because it shows that they're benevolent. And he says, no, they're not ETs. They are Earthlings that are now substantially advanced from what they would have been if they'd have just stayed on planet Earth, because of the ETs that they have encountered and befriended out there.
Okay.
So I thought, well, that's a very interesting perspective, isn't it?
Well, some people will say, not our viewers, but the random person who comes across videos like this will be like, oh, that's all that bullshit about. Yeah. Keep talking like that, bro. Keep talking like that. It's already everywhere. It's on the Pentagon's talking about it. Congress is talking about it. Did you see on Joe Rogan? She's the wild card here. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She goes on Joe Rogan. And
I saw that one, but I haven't watched it yet.
You got to watch it.
That looks interesting.
Dennis, she flat out says she's seen evidence of interdimensional beings. She says it flat out. Not just aliens from another planet. She says these are entities that cross dimensions. Okay, so she talks about her Air Force days, because she was in the Air Force, and she talks about when a pilot intercepted a UFO, and she has seen the video of these craft, and she says these were not made by mankind. And Joe Rogan pressed her a little bit more on it, but she wouldn't say more than that. I mean, how much more do you need to say? She did say it. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So we have these whistleblowers. We have David Grush. We have right. If you guys don't know who David Grush is, in 2023, he's an intelligence officer that is now a whistleblower. So he testified under oath in front of the government that biologics. What are biologics? What are biologics? They use the word biologics. Let's just say bodies. Go look this up on YouTube, guys. So David Grush is in the hearing. He's testifying. They have the information, and now they begin to question him. And they say, Mr. Grush, do you know the scene I'm about to talk about?
Go ahead, yes.
I know you know. Mr. Grush, you said that they are. We've retrieved craft that are of extraterrestrial origin. Is that true? Yes, ma'am. I think she's a senator or a congresswoman.
Yes.
And she goes, so there were pilots? Yes, Senator. Were these human or non-human, Mr. Grush? Straight up, he just leans forward and he goes, non-human. Why wasn't that the headline of every website, every news outlet? Instead, we're getting all the junk that we get as headlines. The fact that that wasn't the news,
headline news,
all around the world, right? Why wasn't that
Yes.
the news all around the world? Why? Why?
I agree.
This man is swearing under oath in front of the government that we have craft and alien bodies. So, look, he's under penalty of perjury, guys. He's under penalty of perjury.
Yeah.
So then we have, what were the senators? Who was it? Rubio and Schumer who backed him, and they pushed the UAP Disclosure Act to force the government's hand. These are lawmakers that are demanding answers, guys.
Yep.
And so I feel like we are taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, because as soon as we get a little forward, they start to try to, push it to the side. So what do you think, Dennis? How far have we come?
I'll tell you how I kind of condensed that whole event down in my own mind is I noticed that on numerous occasions with various whistleblower witnesses that were answering questions from probably I think there was at least 5 or 6 or 7 different congressmen, congresswomen asking very astute questions, I have to say, in many instances. But very often they would get this same response. I would have to respond to that in a closed session.
Oh, right. They call that the skiff.
Something like that, yeah.
It's like this acronym, guys. It's like SKIF. It's like,
but the very fact that they're saying,
it's a physical
they're
container,
obviously
right?
they're obviously withholding something, though.
Right. In the skiff, I'll tell you in the skiff. Oh, so you're not going to tell the American people if this isn't breaching, our security as a nation. Just admitting that what you've seen, why would that breach our security, right? You're not talking about where our spies are, where our military is, or where our bases are, where our next moves are. We're talking about something completely different.
Yep.
So it's going to be a controlled release. A skiff, by the way, I think I'm saying the word right. Basically, they have these rooms that are soundproof. You can't bring any technology in there. And they have meetings in these physical containers. Like some company makes these rooms, Dennis.
Yeah, I know. Remember the cone of silence on Get Smart?
You're taking me back. You are taking me back. Listen, there's so much here, guys. We're talking about the Alaskan Triangle. We're talking about the interstellar objects. We talked a little bit about Bigfoot, but I think we're going to do a whole episode on Bigfoot. We're talking about Congress is talking about interdimensional beings, guys. This is happening in your lifetime. This is not a drill. This is real life happening in real time, and you get so bombarded by all this ridiculousness that is pushed on you by pretty much everywhere that's media, that these life-changing monument is probably the greatest admission and fact of our lives is that we are not alone. This is being revealed to us. And I think that reality is actually stranger and wilder and more wonderful than we ever imagined it to be. And that's what we're here on Quantum Mysteries to delve into. So I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight, guys, but we will be back soon. Dennis, did you have a good time?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I truly hope, folks, that, because it's part of our intention, that we inspire you to go out and do your own research. Anything that you think, well, that doesn't make sense to me, or I can't believe that. I can't believe they talked about that. Well, then go out and research it yourself. And believe me, when you start researching, you'll be amazed at what you start turning up. And you'll find that your desire for more knowledge and insights grows and grows and grows. So if we can succeed in inspiring you to do your own research, we're not saying that we're experts at all this stuff, but we do the best that we can. And I always want to believe that we're being somewhat successful in inspiring all these people, Riz.
Absolutely, because I've always believed that, the old saying, keep your eyes to the skies and your mind open, guys. This is, the mysteries are endless in this reality. And
yes,
these podcasts and these talks serve us in ways of, I like to say, watering those seeds. And you guys will find where people are speaking about it in a natural and honest way without pushing an agenda, but also people who have done a lot of research, and there's a lot of truths and facts and incidences and very verifiable, legit people, thousands who've experienced
with videos and audio. I mean, not. I'm sorry, videos and still shots. You know, I mentioned in one of our previous episodes to Araya that quite a few years back, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but the country of Brazil did make a public announcement as the Brazilian government declaring that, yes, we know that UFOs are real.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't reach U.S. That wasn't on any U.S. news reports that I remember seeing.
And it won't be for a while, but that'll be a great day when that happens, guys.
Yes.
Well, hey, listen, we have a pleasurable time being with you guys. This is our joy to talk about this. There's much more to talk about. So be well, my friends. Dennis, my brother in high strangeness, send you love from the shores of LA to the mysterious skies of Nevada, where you are always under the constellations. And
yes, I'm spitting distance away from Area 51 here, where I'm sitting right now.
We're going to get into that, I think, next time.
You bet.
Be well, guys. This has been Quantum Mysteries. I'm Riz Mirza.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.